Hello everybody, welcome back and to another YouTube video. This is my BMW 640 diesel. It's an F13 2015 plate. Just going to talk to you today about how to repair the glass on the display in the dashboard itself. So I'll show you how I did this myself. First things first, just need to locate the battery and disconnect the battery, so go ahead and do that. And there's a novelty, a boot that comes up and releases on its own, which doesn't happen very often, as you all know. So the battery here is in the boot, and we'll go ahead and take that negative terminal off there. I'll go into the car afterwards, but what I would suggest you do is just get a rag or something once you've done that, and just pop something there through the boot catch, because obviously this is on your the battery operates the boot, so if anything goes wrong or if that gets closed accidentally. So I'll just pause for a moment while I disconnect the battery, and then I'll meet you inside the car. Sorry, one thing I should have said was to help you out. That's a 10mm spanner there, and also just make sure that you use something to lean the terminal on when you've taken it off, just so it doesn't reconnect up whilst you're in the middle of something. So okay, let's get inside the car and I'll show you what's what. Okay, so here we are in the car, and hopefully you can see all this okay. Sorry, just closing the door there. So this is what you're faced with your dashboard, and the first part is really just to take off this panel here, and I've already taken mine off, so I've just placed it back on for you. But it's basically just pushed on. There's no screws or anything to worry about here. This part's pretty straightforward. So just holding it in, I started from the top here and just pulled it gently towards me and started to pop off the clips. Okay, so it will move forward and be attached to 3 cables. So you've got 1, 2 and 3. So this one is your start stop button. There's one here which is I assume the center. One of these is the hazard warning lights, and the other one there is a heater control that goes to either side of the vents there. So as you bring it forward, just let it fall as far as it will on these cables, and then just unclip these cables. They're all, as you would expect, normally some form of push clip like that. So just take your time and just work your way, pressing the clips and undoing them gently, and then that will give you the opportunity then to just take this whole piece off and move that out of the way. Obviously be careful from that point of view. If this is whatever finish you've got, you don't want to scratch that, do you? So you know, just place it down somewhere safe. Mine's just on the passenger seat there, which is fine. And then your first part of taking this display unit off then is to access some of the screws that hold it into place. Now 2 of the screws are located, one here to the left and one to the right. And I used a T15 screwdriver into the screw here. Now, bearing in mind that there's quite a gap there and there's a lot that could go down there and get lost. So what I would recommend is take a sheet or something anyway and pop it in there, stuff it in there. Just so that as you undo these 2 screws, then anything that falls is going to fall here and keep it safe, just for your own benefit of course. But you know, I did that, and that one sure enough fell there and just picked it straight up, so that worked really well. So that's the two that come off for the display unit. Now the next bit was the only bit that in a way I was sort of nervous about, because I expected that whole lot then to come off, and it didn't. So the next part of this display here is connected to the plastic at the back behind here. So I had to prise off, and I really just used my fingers, and I used a there. So I used a trim tool just to ease off around the back here, just to pop that away, because what happens then is this then comes away and leaves this plastic section here, which, as you can see on the sides here, there's 4 lugs that hold this into place, and they've got these sort of bracket type little bits there that just fit into those. So that stayed on the car, and this will drop forward once you've got that separated, and this then is a cable that's attached to the screen. So that is attached under there. It wasn't the easiest thing to take apart, so I gently again just prized it away from the screen and remove that, which then obviously frees this up. I then had to take off this, because having taken this off, I actually didn't damage it, because I heated it up and moved it back into place, but it broke slightly, one of these lugs. So I took this off. This is just there was 2 screws here again, and then little spring clips that hold it into place before you put the screws in. So one of my lugs here, I just had to heat that up and close it back up again. But really that could just stay in the car, because when you come to reassemble it, that will have to go on first, and then the screen goes back on top of that. So once you've got your screen off, then we can start to work on the screen section itself. So I'm going to pause this for a moment, and then I'll show you how I went on from here. Okay, so here we are back again. So with my trusty little PowerFix tool set, which I acquired from Aldi or Lidl or one of those places, fitted this with a T8 little fitting on the end there, and the next step is, what we want to do is take the screen section away from this case, to allow us then to get more access to the screen itself. And what we need to do is, if we take off these, there's 3 little very small screws, 2 on the outer edge there and 1 there, so 3 in total, sorry. So 3 in total. Just take those off, drop those there onto that sheet, and that then allows us to separate this. Now you can, sorry, I'm thinking as I go along, there's 2 lugs at the top here that if you just lift those up, the screen itself will start to come away from the outer case. There we are. So just with those 2 black lugs there, just lift those slightly, and then that will allow you to take it off, and I believe it comes away from the bottom as well then. So we should be able to lift those, yeah, lift those slightly, that's it, and everything will separate. So we can put this outer case to one side, because now we've got access to the screen itself. And I've cleaned this already, but the reason for doing all of this, of course, was that when I bought this car, somebody had had a really good go at cleaning this screen and made a right pig's ear of it, basically, and it was all scratched and it was not nice at all. But all they'd really done was just gone into that outer layer of the screen protection. So I wanted to really just to be able to clean that off and start afresh. So if I pop that there for a moment, I'll show you then what I did, which was with a combination of not terribly sophisticated this, but it was my wife's organic cotton round pad. One or two of these I think I used, and I've got some heavy duty glass polish, which is an Auto Smart product, but I've also got, excuse my head, some Meguiar's fine scratch and blemish remover, and to be fair, I used both of these products and just carefully and gently started to work across the screen just to remove that outer layer screen that was on there, and it was fantastic, because I've had this 2 years now, this car, and all of that time I've put up with the sort of what seemed to be bad blemishes and scratches and things, and it just took it all away so well. Big stupid error on my part was that there was a stubborn little bit here, and I got a Dremel tool with a polisher on the end, so I thought I'd sort of go at it a little bit harder, and I actually went into the screen there, which really gutted me. So don't be aggressive, don't do anything other than, you know, cotton pad like that or something like this, and just gently, and it does come away nicely. I've left myself now with two little indents in there. Thankfully it sits up behind the trim, and then I'll perch that there again. So then I sent off for online, did some research online, and this company, so this is protectionfilms24.com, and they sent me 2 screen protectors, anti-glare, anti-scratch, bubble-free, anti-fingerprint, and these cost me, I think they were £7 something. Bought them off Amazon. So if you, I'll just there's a 10% voucher code on this one, but I dare say if somebody goes on to protectionfilms24.com, and if you look at voucher codes, you may well get a voucher code off somebody. But this is brilliant, because essentially this is the it's labelled up there on the back, look, for BMW 6 Series F13 Coupe 2011 onwards iDrive, and this is a 10.2 size screen. They send you 2, presumably because if you're gonna, you might end up messing one up, but that then will go over the top of your new screen, obviously when it's all dusted off and cleaned, and that's going to give me just what I want in terms of, you know, looking like new again. So my next process is really to put this on and then put everything back together again, and then I'll show you what it looks like. If I'm able and capable enough, I'll put some screenshots in of what the screen looked like before I did this, which was pretty horrible, to be fair. So I'm hoping that you know, once that's in place, that's going to look 100% better. So I'll get this sorted. We'll get it all put together. Obviously the installation section will be in reverse. So there's, you know, what, 4 screws and a few clips, and apart from that, there isn't an awful lot of work to do on that process of taking it apart there. I just want to say it's probably like putting a mobile phone screen cover on. Clear the screen, make sure I don't get any air bubbles trapped, etc., and then start to put all this back together again. So I'll see you when it's all set up, and then I'll give you an idea of what it looks like then. Okay, thanks. Okay, hi again. So I've been into the house to put this part of the screen on, put the screen protector on. So as you saw before I left, took the back off there. Just be careful when you come to put the screen protector on, because it needs to just sit it slightly inside the actual screen itself. They've made it so that it sits slightly in of the outer edge of the screen, because it sits underneath this cover here. I did actually have some of the mobile phone screen protectors. So in there you come with these little packs, don't they, with a cloth and a cleaning wipe and so on. And I used one of those to clean it down before I put the protector on, and it's great. I mean, it's, you know, I dare say I've got the odd tiny little bubble or tiny little speck, which I think is actually on the screen underneath, but when I look now at how nice that is, then it is just 100 times better than it was. Just be careful as well that you don't use anything other than a credit card. I was taking some of the air bubbles out, and I'd got like a small metal plate at first, and you could very easily scratch this screen all over again, so you would end up using the second. I haven't used that second one, and I think I'm going to live with this, and even despite the fact there's a tiny little speck there, I'm just going to get on with it and live with it. As I say, it's 100 times better than it was before. So let's get putting this thing back together again now. So we'll put we don't need to take this black plastic back panel off now, so that can stay there. So don't forget, put your cloth or something up here just to catch all this if anything happens to drop down. We just need 2 screws to fix this panel in here. Obviously this needs fixing on before you put the screen itself back on again. So 1 screw went into here and 1 here. I did, when all this was off, actually I did take the trouble of cleaning around the back of the dashboard there, so it's probably not a bad idea. Just to give everything a wipe over. Put my glasses on, that always helps so you can see what you're doing. So like I said, this is a T15, and I'll just put those 2, finger tighten them back up. It's a sort of satisfying click as everything drops back into place, and the same with this side. There we go, so it's nice and secure there, and then we'll need to offer the screen up now. And put the cable back in. So this cable, which way around did it go? Oh, there we are, you can see, so it sits sort of sideways on like that. You can see the pins that fit in here, and so that should line up somewhere there. There we go, so that's just lined up, and then click. So that again clicks back into place. There we are. So that is a cable, just a retainer there, look, that sat in the bottom of there. So that little part there just fits in the bottom of the screen. So let's see how this goes back together. I'm doing this live because obviously I took it apart, and so I'm hoping that now it just clicks. Oh, lovely. Clicks all back into place. So that's the bit I was, like I said to you before, I was worried about that I had to take that apart. So we need now to get those 2 screws under there. So again, just slightly awkward because they're tucked away slightly under there. If we can get under, get my finger under there, locate them. Okay. There's one. Really don't want to let go of those things before you've got them. So that's one. We'll tighten that up in a moment. Let's get the other one in. Just make sure I've got something to catch that. If he slips down there. Probably see the back of my head, sorry. So yeah, this is an awkward one from an angle. There we are, look, you see exactly why you want that there. So let's see if I can just put it in with my fingers first. Yep, there we go. Just got it located. There we go, perfect. So let's tighten that one up. That's fine. And then this side. There we go. So, very nice. All snug. So now, take your cloth away, and then you start to clip all this back together. So you've got one on the right hand side, which is your start stop ignition, and that should just click into there. And then the white one is obviously for the white socket there. And yeah, there's only one way around, so click. And then the central one, which is the hazard warnings, which is there. So putting this back together, took everything away, came back in, just feeding it back in nicely, slowly. I think this side came all the way last, so we'll go that way, back in there, slightly under this side of this trim, and let's see. There's my clip is there, so this is slightly up there. It's always interesting when you're doing it actually live, isn't it, than not rehearsed. So this clearly is a bit more fiddly to get back on than it was get off, but there's, I presume, just a matter of lining up those vents in the back there, tucked away. And possibly I'm doing this wrong from this point of view here. Let's try another angle there. I can see my clips. Just make sure I've got nothing in the way. Just make sure those cables are going back into the car where they should be. And try again. Does this one pull forward slightly? Ah, there we are. So there's something new. So pull, that just pops off, which is just underneath the dials for the speedo. Ah, that made life a lot easier, Gary. Okay, so, and then that's looking like it's better located now. that want to sit in. That's it. Sit. Lovely. Satisfying. And then this. Shoo. Click, click. And the proof in the pudding, as they say, if I have my keys on me, yes, I've got the keys in the car, will be if she starts. I've disconnected the battery. Gary, you idiot. I'll come back in a second. Sorry. Hi, so there you go. I connected the battery and got the car running, but as you can see, everything now back in place, and I'm really pleased with that on the screen. I don't know if you get sort of to see really from a clarity point of view, but the sun might be shining slightly on that. But from my point of view, from a driving point of view, that's just so much nicer than seeing all those horrible scratches, and yeah, so much better. So hope you enjoyed the video. It is a DIY thing, and so I do apologise if I'm not the best cameraman, etc. But I hope it helps somebody out there, and like I said, any questions, drop me a line. All the best to you. Thank you. Bye.